You're listening to Cattywampus.
One,
2,
3.
4.
perfect.
We did it.
Alrighty.
We did it, boys.
All right.
We did it. Podcast
Mission
over.
accomplished. Go home.
Now you're a
But I'm already
So-
home.
a pod.
Damn.
Is anybody playing Minecraft Dungeons, though?
No.
What?
It looks
Anybody
pretty
watch-
cool.
Wait, so I forgot earlier, but I didn't hear any answers. Did anybody watch Onward on Disney Plus?
Not
No.
yet.
What?
You should. It's a fucking D&D movie, and it's also really good.
Huh.
They literally have to do a quest.
It looked... Okay, I wasn't sure what you were talking about. It looks interesting. I wanted to
It's
check
re-
it out.
But yeah, I really liked it. Okay.
Probably going to cancel my Disney Plus. I really don't use it. Like,
I'm using it for Clone Wars right now, weekly,
Yeah.
which has been good.
I watched a couple of the Marvel animated shows, and then I kind of stopped.
That's true. If I cancel them, how will I watch the '90s Spider-Man animated series?
Pretty much just watched The Mandalorian, and I was like, okay, there's nothing else to see here.
I've still got about like 10 to 15 classic quote unquote Disney movies that I've either not seen or wanted to revisit. So I definitely want to watch those before I cancel it.
I finally watched Toy Story 4. That was
good.
fine.
Yeah, it was good. When will they find happiness, Brian? When will they find happiness? Okay.
Well, definitely not by watching Outbreak.
Okay.
Nope.
So we watched a movie that is from the director of Das Boot, somehow. Although this is the movie I think he made right before Air Force One, so that's kind of more telling.
Wait, the
Poor
director
Wolfgang
of Das
Peterson.
Boot directed this in Air Force One?
This is Wolfgang Peterson.
Huh.
Wolfgang Peterson is an interesting filmmaker because like Das Boot is just wonderful. And then he made The Neverending Story, which I don't particularly care for, but I don't think is like a disaster by any means. And then he made that really interesting science fiction film, Enemy Mine, about the two, the human and the alien pilot stranded on a foreign planet.
I had a friend that was obsessed with that movie for some reason.
It's good. It's interesting. He made a couple of thrillers. He made Outbreak. Then he made Air Force One. Then he made The Perfect Storm. Then he spent 4 years developing that Batman vs. Superman movie that had a script by Andrew Kevin Walker, who wrote Seven and Fight Club. And then it didn't go forward, so he made Troy. And then Poseidon, the remake of the Poseidon Adventure.
So what you're saying is he has his ups and downs.
It's mostly downs. It's been kind of downhill since Das Boot, one of the greatest movies ever made.
Well, I mean, when you peak that early, what are you supposed to do?
Apparently, you make Outbreak, which, okay, so for anyone who doesn't know, and for history, we're recording this during the time of the Great Unbecoming, of the great disaster that is the spread of a horrific virus. And so we were all recording remotely, and I thought it would not be in bad taste at all to watch Outbreak, mostly because it was free on Netflix.
Also, because it definitely helps you appreciate competency.
At
Yeah, I
least
mean, we could
haven't
watch
been bombed yet.
we could watch Contagion, which is a much better movie and more accurate movie, but that's just going to be depressing. And you're
Yeah.
just going to be like, "Yep, that was good."
Sounds like I need to watch that
I think
next.
I think I'm actually watching that tonight.
I love Contagion. It's a good movie. Steven Soderbergh is, when he hits hard. But this is a movie about a deadly outbreak that is sweeping mostly America to start with. It stars Dustin Hoffman, Rene Russo, Morgan Freeman, Donald Sutherland, Cuba Gooding Jr., Kevin Spacey. Basically, it stars Rene Russo and a bunch of sex pests that we now know. This was ground zero for the Me Too movement. Just nobody knew it.
Yeah,
other- Other than Patrick Dempsey and I think Donald Sutherland, is there any male actor in this who hasn't been canceled for their horrific actions?
No.
Well, I did point it out too. There's a scene it just struck me when they're at the airfield getting ready to go, and Dustin Hoffman and Kevin Spacey appeared on screen together, and then they got into a plane. Morgan Freeman sent them into a plane, and they were followed into the plane by Cuba Gooding Jr. And I was like, if you're a woman or underage or basically anybody, get the fuck away from this plane. One of the things I want to point out is that maybe I missed this because there's a lot of text flying fast on the screen. It was kind of like Shin Godzilla, but without the irony or satire, where there was an insane amount of text. This movie has no such statement to make. So it starts in the African jungle, which, by the way, I looked this up on Wikipedia. Apparently, the opening scene's in the 60s. I don't remember that being pointed out in the film.
It's supposed to be 1967, I believe.
So wait, how long do capuchin monkeys live?
Capuchin monkeys live in South America,
I mean,
not Africa.
but how long does he? How like he never gave the virus to anyone?
Wait, what do you mean?
So the movie starts with this opening shot with this pretentious quote, and then there's a missile impact, which, by the way, it looked like an asteroid hitting.
Also,
and then
what was the freeze
capuchin
frame of the guy for like
the
10
capuchin monkey
minutes?
reacts to it, and I assume we're meant to believe that's the same monkey. That's Betsy, the monkey that causes the titular outbreak.
Don't think it was. I think it was just supposed to be like, these monkeys will be important later.
Oh, you think it's like Betsy's dad or something?
Yeah.
Well, these monkeys, first of all, they live
Son
15
of
to 25
Betsy.
years. So maybe.
Oh, so Betsy's at the end of her road then in the 90s.
I guess
When is-
so. Well,
when is the
actually,
movie
no.
supposed to take place?
I assume it's supposed to be
95, I
yeah,
thought.
present day, like when it was made. I assume they don't seem to.
That opening scene's in 67, so it's not Betsy that we see later, unless these people didn't look up how long a capuchin monkey lives. I mean, they didn't look up where they live, so it wouldn't surprise me if they thought monkeys live to be like
They
80
didn't
years
look up
old.
many things.
This movie is not what I would call research heavy. This.
Oh no, it's
Um,
not.
But the way it kind of handles like the pandemic outbreak is it's kind of, you know what it is? It reminded me, like, speaking of Godzilla, this is to an actual pandemic the way like the 1998 Godzilla movie is to 9/11, where they clearly, and there's a lot of 90s thrillers like this where, when I say we, I mean Americans, particularly white Americans in Hollywood. We didn't see any kind of like strife to make a movie about, so we kind of had to invent thriller, like things to create movies about in the 90s. So there was a lot of things like
A bomb on a bus?
yeah, or like what nuclear fallout, like I feel like The Peacemaker, or like martial law and The Siege, or like viral pandemics in this movie.
Escape from New York?
Yes, the documentary Escape from LA. But like we completely botch handling them because it's just the same bland thriller that we stuck those ideas into, because we never really did any research or didn't really have any reference for what would actually happen if something like that were to hit America. Basically, Dustin Hoffman is a military scientist who is the top of his game at viral research, I guess.
I guess he's supposed to be a military virologist or something.
He's
Yeah.
in the army, presumably, from the uniform.
Yeah, he
Although he
answers,
doesn't listen
answers to Morgan Freeman.
He doesn't care about a chain of command or really anything military spec. He just kind of wears a uniform on some scenes.
He
So I'm
just
assuming
cares
he's
about
military.
his dogs. He
This
just
movie
cares about the
oh
dogs.
god, those dogs, man. You want to talk about Chekhov dogs. You cannot spend that much time on the dogs in Act 1 and not have them be the cure for the virus in Act 3.
They literally
Right.
did nothing. I just want to know.
I do not like oh my god, like 15 full minutes are devoted to who has the dogs.
I texted David as soon as the movie was over, and I was like, "So who's taking care of the dogs during the last like hour of the movie?"
The dogs died. They died off camp. They died on the way to their home planet. I don't
Poochie died on the way to his home planet.
Poochie was an alien? I guess so.
I thought the dogs were gonna like save them somehow, or
Well, the movie, and this is so 90s, and this is kind of also related to what we were just talking about with the military chain of command thing, where the 90s vision of like the military is so skewed. And again, it kind of speaks back to that we have nothing to worry about. Everything's fine. Like, oh, hey, Morgan Freeman, my commanding officer, let's just shoot the shit. And I'm like, no. Basically, so wait, the outbreak return, I guess, I had a really clear understanding of the movie, at least I thought I did, until you all confirmed for me that the opening's in the 60s. Now I'm not sure I know what the movie is. The 20-year gap between the first scene and the next scene is now really throwing me. I guess
So-
the
Well,
outbreak
it's like
returned.
30 years, I think.
So,
and also that
apparently-
virus looked a little familiar. I just to Google it. That virus, those close-ups are literally just copies of Ebola.
Ebola, yeah. And it had
Ah,
some,
you're
like,
right. I knew that looked familiar.
it had some hantavirus effects too. So just so we're clear, the virus is a fictional virus they named Motaba, and it liquefies your organs within 48 hours. That is
So,
essentially what it does.
To make it make a little bit more sense, it sounds like, I guess, the bad guys, I guess, Morgan Freeman and the other.
Spoiler, but yeah.
Whoa, I don't know if Morgan Freeman's is he really a full-on bad guy?
He's a
He's
bad guy until like
for
the
a
very
while.
end.
It just seems like he's kind of
Morgan
a bureaucrat,
Freeman-
man.
He
But
gets
so-
the heel turn at the
so-
end.
Wait,
What-
Morgan
what-
Freeman
what
is
happened-
totally a bad guy. At one point, he tells Dustin Hoffman the very lethality of the virus is working for us, which, by the way, is like when Homer told Lisa that a man who has lots of ivory is way less likely to hurt the elephant than a guy whose ivory supplies are low.
So from my understanding, what I'm like reading and kind of trying to put back together is that the two of them found that virus, and to
Donald
keep it
Sutherland.
secret, they bombed that small village, and then
A
eventually
napalm-like bomb that sucks up all the oxygen in like a mile
right.
radius.
So what we saw in Zaire is them testing it on another small village to make sure it works before they militarize it or turn it into weaponize it.
No. With that Zaire small village, what it was is that was another village that was somewhere near where the original bombing was, and it just some dude got sick from another fucking monkey.
Betsy, the
and
capuchin monkey.
Just another fucking monkey bit him.
But it
or he
has to be
decided
Betsy
eat
because it has to be the same monkey because they say time and time again, we need the host. We need the first one. We need patient zero. So it has to be the same monkey.
So this monkey.
Maybe it is.
Maybe here's the thing. So these monkeys can live up to 50 years in captivity.
Oh, I get it now. I understand what happened. So basically,
A wizard did it.
No, so if you remember, Patrick Dempsey's character gets that monkey to sell to the pet store, so he has
Yes.
a breeding pair.
By
so
the way,
what I'm guessing,
McDreamy himself as a fucking rat-tailed, like corrupt, sleazy 90s
favorite character in the entire movie.
Same. But also, I like Patrick Dempsey, but after years of Grey's Anatomy of him being, literally McDreamy, and to see him here with that fucking like '90s look, being like, "I steal monkeys anyway, want my cookie, kid." I'm like, "Oh Jesus Christ, you're terrifying."
He looked like he was straight out of a movie. from
Lost
the 80s.
Boys.
Lost
Yeah,
Boys.
yeah, Lost Boys.
See, he looked to me like one of those idiots digging up Spawn's grave, trying to worship the devil in the Spawn movie.
Yep. But no, so all right, so the basic premise from the way I understand it now is guy in that village goes and gets the monkey, takes it into town, sells it to that guy on the ship, and then while that guy takes the monkey into town, he gets sick, he comes back to the small town. He's already sick, and then remember he says he drinks the water from the well and then sickens the rest of the village.
Right, but how do you explain the 30-year gap?
Wizard did it.
Okay, we're all on the same page.
Okay, what if it's spreading around this monkey colony without any symptoms, and then a different monkey at some point just gets aggravated and scratches or spits on someone else, and that's
I am
just
shocked they never did. And I feel like every virus movie does this. I'm shocked they never did the human who was asymptomatic story in the movie.
Well, it's hard to imagine that with a 100% lethality rate and a 24-hour.
Oh yeah, that's right.
period.
Forgive me. You're right. Morgan Freeman states the very lethality of it is what's working for us.
It literally melts your organs. I don't know how you could have any symptomatic
Which
carrier.
doesn't really make any sense how they could possibly have a vaccine for a virus that literally melts you from the inside.
Is it really a vaccine, or is it just? I think it's called a serum.
It's
It's
just a
like-
cure. It's a
Pretty
general
sure it's
cure.
lemonade, or he says orange juice.
Yeah. Is it orange juice? Yeah, Cuba Gooding Jr. It's fucking orange juice. I thought you were a virologist.
Potion seller. I'm going
What's some
into
of my potions?
Oh, Sunny D, sweet.
I'm going to fight Matabo, and I need only your strongest potions.
I just
I will
don't.
say-
So I don't understand why we get this. What, an hour of setup for all of this, and then the rest of the movie is just fucking helicopter chasing.
Okay, so
That
we'll
helicopter
get to
chase
the
went on
helicopter
way too
chasing.
fucking long.
but a couple of things I did think were hilarious was early on. There's a lot of weird stuff with the and this is what's weird. So basically the premise is that Dustin Hoffman sees the recent outbreak in Zaire. He warns Morgan Freeman, who may or may not already know that is something that they've seen before and already have a cure for. because they wanted to turn the military was evil and wanted to turn it into a biological weapon, which I don't understand how you turn it into a biological weapon if it will kill the entire population of the world in 2 days. Like, I know there's an argument for, well, isn't that nuclear deterrence? Isn't that, mutually assured destruction? I'm like, there's a difference between launching like 50 nuclear bombs and one dude getting sick, murdering the entire planet in a
Well,
weekend.
the original virus wasn't as dangerous because you could only get it through direct contact, saliva, blood. It wasn't until halfway through the movie where they're just like, oh no, it's airborne.
Oh, yeah.
It's airborne, and it can go through the filters in the air vents. Ha.
The world's top doctors don't seem to grasp the concept that viruses mutate in this film.
Well,
Impossible.
It's because
The
of,
virus
it's because
did
of the
what?
scene in Act 1 where the original response cast goes to the village, everybody's dead, but the village leader's okay. And he's like, oh, don't worry, it's not airborne, while this other guy's throwing up in his mask. Like, oh, okay, well, that's just going to be the way of it then. We know it's not airborne, so we can all just take off our masks now. Tee-hee.
Oh, yes, the long standard movie tradition of, we're fine, take off your mask. Do not take off your mask.
I mean, I noticed it. They've got these they've got these full body suits, and you can clearly see their face from all three angles. They got the glass, but the first response team, had these like blacked out, like basically gas masks.
They were
setups,
evil,
right?
Corey. They were the bad guys. Anyway, so back to the virus. Also, they just don't trust the audience that the virus can just spread normally. They have to come up with these Rube Goldberg weird things, and the drama of like the kid almost touching the cookie, because Patrick Dempsey, as pointed out before, steals the monkey, can't sell the monkey, releases the monkey into the woods, then gets sick, gets his girlfriend sick on a plane, and his blood explodes in a centrifuge, doesn't it?
Well, yeah,
Yep.
because the technician is staring at the screen and just sticks his hand in a spinning centrifuge, and blood spatters all over his face. What? There's so many things wrong with that. Nobody
is
in
so-
your lab's gonna do that. What are you talking
I also
about?
like when he goes to the doctor and he's like, shouldn't I get tested for things? And the guy's like, nah.
You're good.
They're fine. Just wash up.
And he lists all these things you should be tested for.
Are they real doctors?
No. he was a
Nobody in
fake
this
doctor.
movie is a real doctor.
Well, no, none of them real doctors. Because doesn't Rene Russo go to Patrick Dempsey and scream in his face while he has a ventilator down his throat, asking him to
Yep.
talk?
Talk to me. Oh,
Yeah.
like
He has a ventilator
A
in his
tube in my
throat.
lungs.
And I know it's supposed to be ominous, but my favorite part of the movie are what I found the hilarious shots of the capuchin monkey wandering through the woods at night, because they have this really ominous music, this dun 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 dun. But then you just cut to this real monkey who's clearly trained, just being like hello, and he's just like in the woods, not being ominous on any level.
none of the music in this movie was good. I
This is-
fucking hated every bit of the
It's
music in
James
this film.
Newton Howard, and I believe it's been reused in trailers for like decades.
It's just
No,
every
just-
track just sounded way too epic for anything that was happening. Like they'd be sitting in an office having a conversation, the background score is going dun 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 dun.
I can only assume the score is the virus.
It's a metaphor for us, the viewer.
Well, that's like when Dustin Hoffman had his car and he couldn't get through the streets in the panic streets. And I was like, oh no, humanity is the real virus. And then they tried to escape, and I did love the dummies in the exploding car.
Oh yeah. My favorite part was when he was driving through that crowd. Everybody, all the extras obviously had to have some kind of physical business. There's this one woman that literally looks like she's trying to push the car backwards. She's standing at the front, like the front driver's side bumper, and like pushing on the car.
Oh no, she's got virus strength. The virus is mutated again.
Like she's literally pushing on the car and then literally just really violently throws her body to the right.
Well, so
Like she was thrown from the car.
So they decide to cut off this one town where the outbreak has been localized, which is also hilarious for when Morgan Freeman has to call Dustin Hoffman and go, "Hey, we have the cure. Should we just cure these people?" And Dustin goes, "No, I believe napalming the American city will be easier."
Yeah, he
it
really
sounds
he really
easier.
wants to do it.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
like
there's-
his only goal in the movie. He's like, I'm going to kill all these fucking people.
Oh boy, here I go killing again.
It was that. Donald Sutherland is so psyched about killing all these people with
He's
the virus.
just so ready. He's just like, I've seen this bomb used once, and it was so badass. I just want to do it again.
Somebody comes into work and, sneezes and he goes, better napalm the office. I also
My
like to...
entire purpose in life is to see this little mushroom cloud again.
Well,
it's so cool.
It's also hilarious, too, because he's like, it's an important weapon for America. And I'm like, it's 1995. Who are you going to use this on? Like, who's the enemy? So, later, so that's when Morgan Freeman shows up, because Dustin Hoffman has disobeyed direct orders and shown up there, which is in a hilarious scene where Dustin Hoffman's like, let me help these people. And Morgan Freeman goes, okay. And then Morgan Freeman goes, you were never here. And Dustin Hoffman goes, no, I was here. I was always here. Like, he doesn't get that Morgan Freeman's trying to do the wink, wink, you were never here thing. It was very much like now when I say hello, Mr. Thompson, and I press down on your foot, you smile and nod. I think he's talking to you. Then they search for a monkey who gets sick, and he's like, this monkey's sick. It can't be our host. Again, viruses mutate. There's no reason to exclude the monkey.
But the people that
well,
made this
no,
movie
they
don't
said
understand
he
that.
had it. That's the thing. Their thought, or the premise of the movie, wasn't the virus mutated. Was that there were two different viruses that were similar, but the monkey had both.
What?
Yeah.
How did I miss
The
that
monkey
detail?
had both.
I don't think that that doesn't sound right, but also I wouldn't put it past this movie to say something
No,
that
I
dumb.
watched it yesterday. I watched this yesterday morning. That is literally what they wanted the audience to believe.
Well, I think they're trying to get through the idea that different strains of a virus are due to mutation, but they don't really seem to like. You know what this movie?
Grasp the.
This movie, you know, in Jurassic Park, when they sit in the little chairs and Mr. DNA comes out and explains how this all works. Boy, I could have used Mr. DNA in this movie.
Could have used a lot of things in this movie.
The writers could have used Mr. DNA.
Oh my God.
I just
Yeah.
I don't need this movie.
I just don't understand how half of this movie is while not competent, okay, like
Perfectly
disaster,
cromulent.
Yeah, perfectly cromulent, like viral contagion film.
Mm-hmm.
The first hour of it is that, and then the second hour is Cuba Gooding Jr. and Dustin Hoffman versus the army in a helicopter.
So it
It has to
feels
be an
that
action
way,
movie, man.
But sadly, it's only 15 minutes. Because I timed it. I was like, what the fuck is happening? So basically, long story short, Donald Sutherland has no intention of curing anybody, and that they are going to napalm the city. And then to make matters worse, Kevin Spacey and Rene Russo have become infected. So Dustin Hoffman is now a race against time to find the monkey and get the cure. And part of that is stealing a helicopter, because Cuba Gooding Jr. can fly a helicopter.
Well, they can't leave the town they're being forced to stay in that's going to be bombed. by
Yeah.
a helicopter.
Yeah, so they steal the helicopter.
This magical helicopter with infinite fuel. The first thing they do is they take the helicopter, they leave, they go to San Francisco.
Right to the city hall.
Yeah, they go to San Francisco to figure out what ship that monkey could have come. Then they fly from San Francisco.
Oh, wait. First, my favorite part about it. So humanity is saved by a goddamn middle-aged secretary in the SF Records Department who is fucking some married guy in the Coast Guard.
Yep.
And they even name check her later when they're coming up on the ship. Dustin Hoffman's like, thank you, Mrs. Panades. Which, by the way, Mrs., so she's also cheating on her husband.
Yep. So, yeah, they go to San Francisco, then they fly out to sea to find the ship so Dustin Hoffman can jump off of the helicopter onto the ship because reasons.
I will say this. I like that Dustin Hoffman plays the character as a real fucking coward about everything. Where he's like, can't you land? Don't you? Like I feel like in a worse movie, he would be all gun-ho about it. But I do kind of like that Dustin Hoffman's like, I do not want to jump out of a helicopter.
Yeah. This seems like a really stupid fucking idea. Why do I have to do this? All right.
So I did kind of like that Dustin Hoffman chose to there's no vanity in it where he's like oh, I'm terrified of helicopters and all this. But you're right. And then they go to the news media, which
Nope. They go to the news station. Yeah, they go to the news station.
Nope. Then they go to the fireworks factory.
Yeah.
No, that's hilarious. Where the news they so like Which, by the way, 2 military soldiers saved the world by taking the media hostage with a gun, and there's got to be a metaphor for our times in there somewhere. And but the news media asking America if they have seen this monkey holding a picture of the monkey up might have been the funniest thing I've seen in this entire quarantine.
Yeah, like in the entire U.S., this one monkey, please help.
America, have you seen this monkey?
Please.
I also like the cut there where you cut to the mother, because also in the backstory is the monkey's made it into a backyard and is playing with this little girl, and has become friends with this little girl. Again, ominous music, and it's just a cute little monkey playing with a little girl. Not the scariest thing in the world, but the mother looks at her kid's drawing of her and the monkey while watching the news, and she has this shocked look of like, that's the monkey. But in my head, I'm like, I wanted her to turn back and go, that looks nothing like the monkey on TV.
Oh, our monkey looks nothing like this.
And then what happens is Donald Sutherland takes 2 military helicopters, 2 attack helicopters basically, to blow Dustin Hoffman and Cuba Gooding Jr. out of the sky because they have recovered the monkey, which is hilarious because then that becomes the third act, so that we have the countdown to the bombing, to the napalm bombing. Dustin Hoffman and Cuba Gooding Jr. are going to get back. They are being chased in a helicopter by two attack helicopters. Thus begins a 15-minute helicopter chase sequence in the middle of your virus movie. And for a movie that relies so heavily on a helicopter chase in its third act, they probably should have spent more money on the green screen comping for the actors instead of helicopters, because it kind of looks like the 60s Batman show for a while.
Yep.
It was
Or
too
how
long.
great it was. It was too long.
It was awful, and I don't understand why they had such a hard time killing this one helicopter with their 2 helicopters.
There's all these missiles on all these helicopters, and aren't those things like? Don't they have tracking? Like, I don't understand.
But Cuba Gooding Jr. did a loop-de-loop or something.
It was also like his first time flying.
Was
No,
it?
He said he had a lot
Or it
of
wasn't-
flight hours.
He said he had trained a lot, and
Sure.
he'd only.
I've had a lot
he
of
said
flight
he had
hours.
trained a lot, and he's only actually been
Do you,
in a
do you
helicopter
mean in
once.
Flight Simulator?
No. He said he had all of his flight.
Huh.
Cut to him playing
Whatever.
Flight Simulator.
Yeah, no. But it was another thing. Like, that's the thing about this movie. Anything that they have to justify, at some point in the film, they justified it. Whether they needed to or not.
You're right.
They told you.
You're right, Steve. This screenplay is airtight.
Yeah. That's the worst part of it, is they really tried to
They
be.
worked so hard. They worked so much harder than they needed to for their stupid virus movie. There's a moment where the 2 helicopters nearly crash, and it's like a Looney Tunes clank. And what part of the helicopters touched? Is it the blades? Because that's not how that works.
If the blades had touched, they would have both gone down.
Yeah. Anyway, well, after 15 minutes, I assume everyone's dead back in Cedar Creek from the virus by the time they got back. But also, I wrote this down. This is a note I wrote, and I don't know a good place to put it. I'm still not 100% clear on how getting the host will help you synthesize a cure for the current strain, especially when you already had a cure for the original strain. Now, I'm not a doctor, but then again, neither was anyone involved in this movie.
So hold on. Remember, this monkey has both strains.
Are
Yep.
Are we sure?
Positive.
That seems
Yeah.
so wrong.
100% positive that was how they. Like I
But-
said,
but-
they
but-
tried to justify everything.
But the virus wasn't airborne until later, so it had to mutate to a new strain while in humans.
Yeah, you would think that, but that is not what they wanted people
But
to believe.
It also mutated like that in the monkey, because that's how mutations work. Haven't you played Plague Inc?
Doesn't it mutate like somewhere in between getting off the airplane and him being in the hospital and the
It
whole movie theater
mutates
scene?
in Cedar Creek. Cedar Creek's where it becomes airborne.
Right, and
Yeah,
it
so
also
they
did
did the
that
whole, like-
with the host monkey at the same time, because that's how diseases work.
I don't care for this, Michigas. This movie's now so much worse than I thought it was. This movie's like a Rorschach test. What did you see in the virus? So they get back. They're synthesizing it. He believes so confidently that they'll cure it that he takes his mask off to kiss Rene Russo, thus infecting himself. Oh, then Donald Sutherland comes back, and Act 3 gets to start over because he initiates the napalm strike again. So Act 3 gets to start over. So that basically means your 110-minute movie is now like a 128-minute movie. Thanks for fucking nothing, Donald Sutherland.
Yeah, but we get more helicopter, because that's what this movie's all about, is more helicopter.
It's a
Whenever the,
90s movie, man. We got to have that helicopter.
whenever the helicopter is not on screen, people should be asking, "Where's the helicopter?"
Exactly. See, you get it.
Also, I believe they have enough anti-serum for 2,600 people in a few hours, and I'd like to know what miracle manufacturing
Yeah,
process.
they just magically made that much in the span of like 3 hours.
Well, I don't know if you know this, but Cedar Creek's main export is centrifuges.
Ah,
Is it
Very
really?
Might as well be. Yeah, I guess that's it. The military soldiers disobey the general's orders, which bullshit. Like, I know Dustin Hoffman's
Court martial
right.
for all y'all.
Although I guess I could see that if you have two superior officers literally disagreeing about nuking a town on your radio, you might not nuke the town. I guess that's kind of reasonable.
yeah, that makes a lot more sense. I mean, they were both Morgan Freeman and Sutherland were both the same rank.
Yeah, and Dustin
So
Hoffman
which
is
one-
still outranking the pilots.
Yeah.
So I guess if you have like a colonel and a general literally screaming over your phone about whether or not you should murder 3,000 people, you might not drop the bomb and be like, "Hey, how about I come home and we sort this out?" Like,
I thought
Yeah,
you
why
got the
don't we turn
president's
around?
authorization.
I can always try again.
yeah,
I feel like you would probably wait until there's a final answer.
Yeah.
Like, not just, don't do it, don't do it.
so I guess it is reasonable that they just drop the bomb into the water. They're like, I don't,
Especially
I'm not.
since the helicopter's literally right in their flight path. So it's like, well, we're gonna
That's
have to
right.
run into the
He
helicopter.
plays
too.
chicken, and I was like, your ship's going down too.
But, so why drop the bomb at all? Why not just hold on to it? That's probably a lot of money you just threw into the ocean.
Because movie. It's
Yeah,
more
I mean,
dramatic
we
if he
need-
drops
We
it.
needed another one of those terrible special
Well,
effects.
because you want to have the moment where you think they're gonna do it.
That's right, because it
The
wasn't
virus
really
was
clear.
in the water. The fish had it.
It
Yeah.
wasn't really clear. They dropped the bomb, and it's kind of floating for a minute. And
Oh no,
everyone's like,
the
no.
Pacific Ocean's fucked. Like,
Yeah, they can't eat fucking sushi for the rest of their lives.
that's a shame.
That is a shame.
Yeah. So that is about all. And then they got back together. I guess Dustin Hoffman and Renee Russo get back together.
Did
Credits.
they?
Unclear.
Unclear.
They make it sound like
Probably.
they're gonna get back together.
I will say, if she had woken up and they were in the hospital together, because that's the last scene of the movie before you go to credits.
Doesn't she say if you have the antibodies, or like I already had the antibodies, so we could try it again, basically?
I was really hoping it would end with them going, "Let's go get our dogs."
Nope.
I was kind of hoping it would end with the dogs just running into the hospital room.
See, I was
Like
hoping
somebody
they would,
brought them there.
like at the end of Return of the King, everybody runs on the bed.
Yeah.
I was kind of hoping they would go get the dogs, who I guess are somewhere in Atlanta because she works for the CDC. I was kind of hoping that they would go get the dogs and then twist the dogs have the virus and they attack, and you're like, Contagion 2.
Oh, and then we get that movie with the first-person werewolf dog thing.
I'm sorry, what now?
What?
David,
What?
you and Beth were watching it when I came over a couple of months ago.
Oh, Bad Moon from Eric Red. Yeah, we get Bad Moon.
Yeah, so that would be like the sequel to Outbreak.
Boy, on the tier of werewolf movies, that is not a high one. What is the tier? What are the werewolf tiers? So, like, tier 1, you got your Wolfman, you got your Ginger Snaps, you got your Dog
American
Soldiers.
Werewolf and
Yep, you got your American Werewolf in London. And then tier 2, you got your Bad Moons. And then,
Underworld.
no, that's a tier 3 werewolf movie. That's
Yeah,
no, those are.
What we do in the shadows?
Oh, that one scene of the werewolves. That's good werewolf. But you know, it's only
Yeah.
the one scene. Anyway.
Yeah. So
Anyway, what we do in the shadows, pretty good. That's what we were reviewing, right?
yeah,
Yeah, that's what we were doing.
I don't know. Outbreak was a giant fucking turd.
Well,
I
I
was
guess
not.
we should talk about in this age of pandemic. This is humorous content. This is
Yeah.
really.
We are all dying.
Yeah, we got JIT for everything, man. It's the most efficient. You save the most money of JIT just in time.
No.
For those that don't know. Yeah, so there's no stock rooms or anything really at a lot of hospitals. There's just hospital beds, and everything's ordered a few days before it's needed. Problem is when the supply chain starts to break down. Ooh, yeah. That's
But
what's
so
going
far-
on right now.
Oops, all berries.
Oops. Yep, it's just like Captain Crunch. Boy,
Yeah,
I
exactly.
will say this: if or more likely because it's me, when I'm in the hospital with this, dying, I want you to know that I promise when the doctor says we don't have a ventilator, I'm gonna go oops all berries
There you go.
right before I die. I'll have a ventilator in my throat, so I'll be like oops all berries, and then I die.
That's fun. This is fun.
This is fun. It's fun. I'm immunocompromised. This is fun. Life is sad, but it's a good thing we have entertainment like Outbreak.
Entertainment's a word for it, sure.
Hey, at least they won. You know, at least it gives you the ray of hope that we too could stop this outbreak, and all we need is Dustin Hoffman.
I don't know, man.
and
I'm
a
low-key
monkey.
worried they're gonna like nuke my city now. Because apparently that's a thing. So are the people in this movie more or less competent?
Well, there was something. I will say this: the most realistic part of the movie was when Dustin Hoffman was trying to explain to Morgan Freeman that if this gets out, it will kill 100% of the population. And Morgan Freeman goes, "Yeah, but it ain't gonna get out." And I'm like, "Yep, that's about how society's working nowadays."
My big moment was, oh no, it's airborne. Like, oh, there's a parallel to reality.
I'm still surprised that this movie was a success and that he won awards. Or, sorry, Kevin Spacey won
Who's
awards
he?
for this.
Wait, what did he
Which,
win?
which of the mini he's?
Oh, you're right. He won the New York Critics Circle Award for this.
Best Supporting Actor. Yeah.
Oh, well,
So
this
the other
is-
one says it also includes his work from Seven and The Usual Suspects,
it
which
also
makes more
includes
sense.
the one
Yeah.
he got an Academy Award for. You're like, yeah, that makes more sense.
Yeah, but that's for one of the awards. The New York Film Critics still
They
gave
were
him
like,
a Best
no,
Supporting
for
Actor.
Outbreak.
The only movie that topped this movie was Tommy Boy.
Oh, what, at the box office?
This apparently Outbreak was #1 for 3 weeks. It made
It was defeated by Tommy Boy.
yeah, it got beaten by Tommy Boy.
Well, after the harrowing pandemic, America just needed to laugh.
Is there anything else you want to
Go watch Contagion.
That would be the good place to
So-
leave this on. Is go watch a well-made film.
Here's what I'll
Wasn't
say.
there-
Here's what I'll say about Outbreak. Go watch Contagion and Das Boot. That's. Oh, also, is it weird that we did this in Sphere and in both of them, Dustin Hoffman is a fucking raging asshole who's horrible to women, and then it turns out in real life he's a raging asshole who's horrible to women. Anyway,
See-
that's fucking Outbreak.
That's Outbreak.
Enjoy. It's on Netflix, and remember, stay indoors.
Social
distancing.
All I
Social
can think of
distance
is
yourself from this film.
Yeah, distance yourself from this film. I'd rather die than watch this movie again.
Yeah, me too.
Those words have weight now too, because I could easily do it.
You've been listening to Cattywampus. You can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and Tumblr at CattyWampusPod. Email us at cattywampuspodcast@gmail.com. Music by Tilly.